Love this time of year because this is the time of year where football is still a long ways away, but it's almost here. There's a meaningless game tonight between the Houston Texans and the Chicago Bears. We've had about a week of training camp with the Jets and the Giants. We've seen little clips of Daniel Jones missing a receiver, Malik Neighbors making a great catch, Aaron Rodgers rolling out, and our opinions are starting to formulate. And so today is that day I always look forward to. This is the first day where we are all going to do it like a happy group. We're going to reveal our first draft Jets and Giants win total predictions because your brain is going to change over the next 5 weeks. There's going to be preseason games. There are going to be injuries. And then, this always happens, there's optimism. No matter what you think today on August 1st, as we get closer to the start of a football season, it's just natural in your brain. All of a sudden, you start to shift towards positivity. So starting today, and we're going to do it right now to open the show here on August 1st, 2024, in honor of the Mets and Yankees not playing, in honor of a Hall of Fame game, we are going to all make our first draft Jets and Giants win total predictions. I've been studying this for 72 hours. I feel very confident about what I'm about to say, but I warn you, and Tiki should warn you, and Sean and Lukey should warn you. Over the next 5 weeks, they may want to turn on the microphone and say, I edit my pick.
Yes.
I changed my mind. And we will keep track of that.
I can promise you that mine will be amended based on how Daniel Jones plays, more importantly, is protected in the first week of the season. I need to see an actual football game.
No, you can't change after the season starts.
I'm talking about in my mind. It's set in stone. Whatever I say today will be set in stone.
Right.
But in my mind, how I think they're going to do is going to change as soon as I see Daniel Jones take a real snap and get really or not really protected by this kind of remade offensive line. That is going to determine so much. The Jets, I think I'm kind of set on what I think, and I think no matter what happens early on in the season, because they have some big-time primetime games, I think my thought about the Jets will stay the same. The Giants is going to be personally in flux, I think.
Yeah, I think already Giant fans have fluctuated because not that we're sitting there at training camp, but the early returns on Daniel Jones, and I can't even say this is my opinion because I'm not sitting there watching Daniel Jones on 11 on 11s, but the early returns have been, hey, it looks rusty.
Right.
Hey, it doesn't look good.
Yeah, and by the way, he should be. He had an ACL injury. He didn't play. Yes, he'd been running around in his shorts and T-shirt, and he looks jacked and huge and massive, and he fits the part, but he hasn't played football in a long time.
Yeah, so with that said, because I think the quarterback situation is going to be like the biggest thing weighing on everyone out there.
It always is.
Where they want to put the Giants win total.
I think that's every team.
I think it's every team, but here's the thing about the Giants, because I do have a win total, and I have an optimistic win total. That's right. I'm not just a hater. Sometimes, and there are a few things that led to this, which I'll explain, sometimes things shift towards a positive way. And here's what shifted me towards why I think the New York Giants are going to win 8 games this season. Is that positive, Tim?
That is. I mean, you said 6 last year.
That's right. And I was basically right. I am at an 8-win total. Now, look, 8 is not enough to make the playoffs. Okay, 8 and 9 is unlikely to be a playoff team. But before I get into my details, would you all agree, because I'm surrounded by Giant fans, for anyone new to the Evan and Tiki show, I'm just a lonely Jet fan here on this program. I got the Hall of Fame, the future Hall of Fame running back, Giant legend Tiki Barber. I got super Giant fanboy Sean Morash, and I've got optimistic Tommy, who thinks the Giants are going 17-0.
By the way, positive, optimistic, whatever you want to call it, Tommy is sticking with the Giants too. You're positive for all your teams. I'm just making sure.
Tiki, I have transformed into positive Tommy.
For everything.
For everything. Negative Tommy is gone.
Beautiful. Then we can have conversations this football season, you and I.
Wow. Yeah, because last year he didn't want to look at you.
Exactly.
Do you guys agree that me saying as an IFO, because I'm being an IFO. I was an IFO last year when I said you'd suck. I gave you the uncomfortable news. I turned out to be right. Would you agree that an 8-win season is an optimistic view from IFO Evan?
Yeah, it hits the over on the Vegas win total. So, yes, it has to be optimistic.
Now, officially, what is the Vegas win total?
7.5.
7.5.
No, I'm sorry, 6.5.
6.5 is the Vegas win total.
Yeah, I'm coming in a game and a half up.
I like it. It's 2 up from last year as well.
Thank you. Am I optimistic, Loogie?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
That actually makes me feel good, Evan. I think I can be your friend for the next 3 weeks until the regular. Is it 3 weeks, 4 weeks until the regular season starts?
Here's what I know. I count down this way. There are 5 more Sundays without football.
Yeah. Well,
that's how I count.
I mean, there's football, but it's
Well,
not. You're going to watch it for the guy who's going to be the backup, whatever.
Yeah.
Guard.
I mean, 5 more Sundays without like real intense, oh my God, I'm going to lose my lunch kind of football. But I'll tell you, I'll walk you through why I have that optimism despite my lack of optimism in the quarterback staying healthy. And that's clearly where I'm at with Daniel Jones, the way I've been with him for a long time. I think he can play when he's healthy. I think he can play when he's held upright. You talked about this offensive line, which I think is significantly improved. Again, assuming Andrew Thomas stays on the field, which I'm going to make that assumption. I think this defense is really, really solid. I think he's been given better wide receivers. I think the Giants are equipped to get to that win total no matter what happens with the quarterback, because I think the rest of the team is solid enough. I think the rest of the team has been built the right way. Now, do I have some questions in their secondary? Of course. But I think they have a chance to have a ferocious pass rush, which, as we all remember, was basically the calling card of the team that won a couple of Super Bowls. I like this team defensively. I like the hire of Shane Bowen. I think it's good that Wink Martindale and Brian Daboll aren't going to get into fist fights every other week. I love the addition of Brian Burns. And so when I say I think they can win 8 games. And a part of that is going through the schedule. A part of that is assuming that this offensive line will have some level of health. But I get to that number without Daniel Jones having the kind of season that maybe you think he's going to have, because I do like the rest of this roster.
Yep.
And I like the way they can start this year against a Viking team that I don't think is going to be very good. Washington, I think, will eventually continue to improve.
But it's a rookie quarterback.
Yes, against that kind of pass rush. I like them getting off to a good start. And I also like the Cowboys and the Eagles coming back down to earth. And ladies and gentlemen, little synopsis, that is a part of why, as an IFO, you guys are winning 8 games this year. Congratulations.
I like it. I mean, you look at the first part of the schedule. You just go through the first 5 or 6 games, and they're all kind of winnable. And even the ones against the division rivals, the Cowboys come first to Giant Stadium, and then the Eagles come to Giant Stadium. They're playing at home. So they're playing these 2 teams, division rivals that they're trying to catch at home. So if everything works as it's supposed to, and guys stay healthy, and especially Daniel Jones, and the offensive line is better than it has been, they could start this season like significantly over 500.
Oh.
And so my thought.
What total are you giving us?
My thought.
13?
I'm not going crazy. Trust, I'm not. Maybe I'll think about that when we start talking about the Jets. But my total this year is exactly what it was last year. Last year, I thought the Giants were going to be 8-9, 9-8. This year, I think they're going to be 9-8 or 10-7.
Wow.
So to me, if you're pinning me, I'm saying this is a 9-win team, because I think there's some tough games, especially as you get later on in the season. Again, still winnable. They could surprise us. Hell, they were 3 plays or 3 game-ending plays away from winning 3 more games last year, right? They could have won 9 games a year ago. I think they at least get to 9 games. To me, so if you're putting mine on record, Evan, which I know you are, 9-8.
9-8. I don't like where this is going so far, and I'll tell you exactly why.
Marginally increasing over you?
Yes. I thought I was the optimistic one.
But I'm not going to be negative on the Giants.
You're allowed to be.
But I can't be, because I look at, you mentioned all the talent. I mean, we know Malik Neighbors and Jalen Hyatt is there, but I think about like the tight ends with Belly, who's back for his third or fourth year. Third year now. You got Theo Johnson, who they were raving about, and I watched him play a couple times at Penn State in some of those whiteout games. The kid's a stud. So if he's right, they're going to be good. The running back room is just stacked. Now, there's no Saquons in that room, but you got a reliable Devin Singletary. This kid, Dante Miller looks like he's a burner. Tyrone Tracy, Eric Gray, who hasn't fulfilled his expectation yet, but could. Like, there's just talent. And so when you look at a team that has talent, it's hard to say that they're going to underachieve, and especially with the coaching staff now feeling like it's more cohesive than it was a year ago.
Now, when I talk about how, as we get closer to the start of the season, and this happens in every sport, as fans, you naturally become more optimistic. I noticed that with my fellow Met fans this year. Throughout the offseason, it was negative, negative, negative. Why don't we get this guy? Why don't we get that guy? And then when opening day comes around, you just so want to be positive that you bring in a little bit more positivity. The definition of that kind of person is Sean Morash, because he's such a diehard Giant fan that even in disappointment that they didn't trade up and acquire Drake May, which he wanted to, even in the disappointment that he thought Tommy DeVito was the franchise quarterback 7 short months ago, I know deep down that Sean has already gone to that optimistic side. And whatever Sean predicts right now, which I think comes from a good place, I guarantee he will add 2 games to that win total before the start of the season.
You're probably right. By the way, I was over at Giant training camp today, sat down with John Mara for a little bit, and as I was watching practice, your guy, Tommy DeVito, threw a tip pick.
Deontay Johnson, right? All right.
I love how you love to bring that up. Yeah,
It wasn't his fault. I mean, he tried to fit it into a tight window and got popped up into the air and intercepted.
By the way, you being at Giant camp also adds to the win total. Because I'm telling you, that's what we are as humans. We want to be more optimistic.
Right, especially when you see it.
Yes. So if we did this yesterday, you would have said 8 wins instead of 9 wins. A game gets added, and it's all of us. It's not because, like, John Maris whispered sweet nothings in your ear. That's the way we are as humans. Like, wait till basketball season. Right now, the Knicks will win 52 games. By the time the season starts, you Knicks fans are going to say 65 wins. So, Sean, your win total.
A positive, optimistic 7-10.
Really? Less than me.
I believe the Giants will be 7-7 and in the hunt, too.
So they're going to collapse down the stretch of the season?
No, I think what's going to happen, they're going to get a little flexy on December 22nd. Giants-Falcons, big game for that wild card situation on Sunday Night Football, December 22nd. They will lose that game, and the Giants will make the uncomfortable decision to pull Daniel Jones.
Why you predicted that?
I'm just trying to be realistic. That's all.
It could be
I think it's a positive
Falcons quarterback at that point.
It could be.
You're on basically a rookie quarterback for the Colts at that point. Anthony Richardson only played like 4 games or 3 games last year.
Keep him on.
And you got the Eagles that could not want to be playing for anything.
Keep him on a couple things. It's August 1st, and I know this sounds outlandish. I also like Anthony Richardson a lot. I think it'll be a very positive year, but I think we will have that uncomfortable Christmas time conversation where they decide the injury clauses and play with Daniel Jones and they lose those last couple games.
Well, by that point of the season, I'll have had a good book on Anthony Richardson because the CBS schedule came out already.
Yeah.
2 of my first 3 games are the Indianapolis Colts.
Look at that.
So I'll get you
Tiki will see the
intel.
Colts more than the Pagano family.
Wow, so you're at 7-10. I'm more optimistic than Sean. Now I feel better. Now I feel good. By the way, when we do this on the Friday before the NFL season starts, which can't tell you everything about it, could be a very, very special Evan Tiki show. Very, very special that day. I believe Sean will have that reversed and say 10-7. That is by the time we get to the start of the year.
You're right. Given what you just mentioned.
Yes.
About my visit, I think you're right.
Yeah, he's going to make a visit next week. We're doing our shows out there, even though he's banned from it. He's going to watch a few preseason games. I guarantee by the time we get to week 1 against the Vikings, Sean's going to be saying, I think this team could go 10-7. So far, I'm at 8. Tiki's at 9. Sean's at 7. We'll get to the Jets in 3 minutes. Positive Tommy.
Positive Tommy's predicting 11 wins. 11 wins for the Giants.
Wow.
The defense will be a top 10 unit. Malik Neighbors will go down as the greatest wide receiver in the history of the Giants. Brian Dable will go back to being the people's champ, no longer the cowardly lion. And the reason I'm so optimistic is because Joe Shane signed Disney Plus in the offseason. Now, let me explain that. Brian Burns is an Avenger. Drew and Natalie Locke are Prince and Princesses. Motor is another superhero. And then they signed the clock from Beauty and the Beast. The candle, I should say. Lumiere.
Yeah. Right.
Isn't that his name?
I mean,
Lumiere?
Yes. Right.
Jermaine
Lumiere.
Yeah.
Luminor.
Oh, yeah.
Close enough.
The candle from Beauty
Close
and the Beast.
enough.
I'm curious. How long did it take you to write that material?
No, I don't write my material.
He pulled
I
that
do
off the dome. He's like Jay-Z. He just goes in the
I
studio.
do repeat it
lets
often.
Exactly. He spits it because he repeats it. But here's something that might give Tommy's prediction a little bit more credence.
Yeah.
The Giants play some tough AFC teams and NFC teams, but a lot of those games are home. So they play the Bengals at home. They have the
Ravens at home, too.
They have the Ravens at home.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the Saints were close to make them. They made the playoffs last year, right? I think, did they? Or
No.
did they just missed it. They just missed
Tampa
it.
did.
They had to win that last game, and Tampa had to lose.
And they play Tampa at home.
They play Tampa at home. They play the Saints at home, and they play the Ravens at home.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, a lot of the tough teams that are out of their division, they play at home.
So
it's a fallacy about home field advantage,
Right.
But it can't hurt.
Yeah, I think to get to that 11 win total, which I'm not going to say it's nuts. It's football. We can dream. I do think it's nuts. What I said about the quarterback can't happen. So I think this roster is good enough, and I think the conversation we're going to have next January is they're a quarterback away. Something very similar to what we were saying about the Jets 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's going to be because Daniel Jones stinks. I think it's going to be because he can't stay healthy. But to get to that win total, then Daniel Jones needs to not even be the guy from 2 years ago who earned the contract. He needs to be better than that.
Yeah.
So 11 wins for Tommy. So right now, an overall optimistic crew. I think they win 8. Tiki says they win 9. Sean has them at 7. Loogie has them at 11. Now let's get to the real football team in town, the team with a legitimate chance to win a Super Bowl, and that's the New York Jets. Now, to my fellow Jet fan, I got to have a conversation before I give the win total. It is going to sound like I'm being negative. What I am presenting to you is not negative. I think it's realistic, and I think it may have a happier ending than you realize. Okay?
Okay.
The Jets are destined to get off to a tricky start. It's just the way it is. This guy didn't quarterback last year. This guy hasn't played with a lot of his teammates.
Yeah.
Like, it's just destined that, like, week 1. And I know I spoke to Beningo about this off air. We got to win week 1. We're not winning week 1.
For those that don't know, that's the 49ers.
That's the Niners on the road. Who Aaron Rodgers, he's been great against the Niners in his career. No shot. Like, that's one of those games where as fired up as I'm going to be, as fired up as we're all going to be, I'll say this to you right now on August 1st. They're not winning that game. So the Jets, right off the top, are staring 0-1 and a week 2 road game in Tennessee against the Titans. Okay, now they do play New England. They play Denver. They play Minnesota. They've got some crappy games mixed in there. I think they are going to limp at the start just because it's natural. Mm-hmm. So don't take that as Evan thinks doom and gloom. No, I think they're going to make the playoffs, and I think they're going to win 10 games. I think it is going to be a very solid 10-win season. Do I think they're going to win the division? Probably not. I think they're a wild card team. But where my optimism starts to grow is I think once making the postseason, they got a run in them. And I don't think this is going to be a quick, they barely made the playoffs, they get knocked out. In fact, I'll go all the way with this here on August 1st.
Okay.
Why not dream big? I think that you and I are flying to Kansas City for the AFC Championship game.
Wow.
I do.
Wow.
I think that Beningo and I flew to many an AFC Championship game. We went to both of them back-to-back. Indianapolis, though we didn't fly, we were driving. Indianapolis and then Pittsburgh. And I have a feeling that you and I, Sean won't go because he's going to be bitter and his wife won't let him. It's
Excuse my wife? She'll tell me what to do.
She won't let you go. I'm just giving you a prediction. I'm giving you a full-fledged prediction here. We are going to be in Kansas City for the AFC Championship game. I don't think it's going to end well for us. I think, I'm going to get frostbite. My wife is going to be so pissed at me for it. And I think the Jets will lose that game.
But they'll be there.
But they're going to be there. So my win total to my fellow Jet fans, and a lot of it is the schedule. A lot of it is the rocky start I expect. A lot of it is just guys getting used to playing with each other, which don't blame that on mini camps. Okay, that's just reality. So I'm going 10 wins for the New York Jets. Tiki?
I like your thinking, even though I think you're a little bit low here. The Jets, kind of like the Giants, have so much talent on their roster right now. Now, maybe the wide receiver room could have used a boost, but you just hope that you get health out of some of their additions here. I like the Jets mainly because of their defense to win 11 games.
11.
And part of it is because, unlike you, they're most likely to lose to the 49ers. But I see the rest of that first quarter of the season, trending favorably for the Jets.
It's a softish schedule. It's more of my questions about kind of the rustiness of this team.
The Titans have a new head coach, Brian Callahan. He's a new head coach there. They got Will Levis as their quarterback. Maybe they're going to be good. I have no idea. They lost their defensive coordinator, who's obviously now with the Giants. So there's a lot of changeover that's happening. The Pats, Rookie quarterback, they could be another disaster. The Broncos, similar situation. I don't know who the heck is going to start at quarterback. And for that team, the
Not
Vikings,
Zach Wilson,
right,
that's who.
the Vikings, again, another rookie quarterback. I can actually see them going this first quarter of the season at 4-1. And so you get off to a hot start. You're now believing in yourself. All that negativity around, the coaching staff and Nate Hackett, it's going to be thrown out the window, and everybody's going to say it's the greatest team since sliced bread. And now they can play to that, right? So I actually see them winning at least 11 games because of a fast start, even if they lose the first game to the 49ers on the road.
I've noticed a trend by Tiki. I say 8 for the Giants. He ups it with 9. I say 10 for the Jets. He ups it with 11. Sean Morash, since you are such an independent football observer.
You hate the Jets.
When it comes to the New York Jets, I'm curious, what's your win total here on August 1st?
So there's obviously been a lot of controversy about the Jets here throughout, and understandably so. Aaron Rodgers appears locked in, I look up and down this schedule, and I got to level with you. Get on my back, Jet fans. You are going to experience the best regular season you've ever experienced.
What?
And we're getting a home playoff game at MetLife Stadium. The Jets are going 16-1.
You hate the Jets.
And losing in that home playoff game in the divisional round to break your heart.
Oh, I see what he did there. Okay. I mean, that is something Aaron Rodgers has done before. 15-1 and then lose a home divisional game. I think something
16-1.
Something you're familiar with.
Yep.
So you're going with 16-1.
So 0-1 and then 16-0.
Well, we'll see. I want to give myself. I almost went 17-0, but I'm giving myself a wiggle room.
I hate you.
You can't call me a hater. I'm telling you, you're going to win 16 games.
No.
It's a troll.
Yeah.
What?
It is a
what
troll.
do you mean? I went 5 more wins than you did. How am I a troll?
Even in complimenting them, I see what you're doing. But
I don't know. Expectations sky high. I want to set them right.
But I wrote it down for August 1st. We'll see if that opinion changes as we get closer to the start of the year. Positive Tommy. Again, I don't know if that applies to the Jets. Your Jet win total.
Not your team. It doesn't need to.
The Jets will win 7 games. Aaron Rodgers will only miss 1 game. He will go to Fantasia to fly on a flying dog. He will not tell the Jets. They will have no idea. They will look like buffoons for a week. They will win 7 games. Now, let me throw up a little karma here because this is the NFL universe.
Yes.
The Jets open up once again on Monday Night Football, correct?
Yes.
They are playing the 49ers. Who was on the 49ers this year? Leonard Floyd. Who hurt Aaron Rodgers last year?
Leonard Floyd.
Leonard
So
Floyd.
what's your point?
My point is
he's getting hurt again?
That's not what I'm saying because I don't, wish injuries on anybody. But that's an early little karma that you have to get over. But I think he will get over it. But you're still going to win 7 games, and Jet fans will get what they wanted: a full season of Aaron Rodgers, and they will realize he's just not that good anymore.
By the way, if that happened, and that would be the 3rd consecutive year of the Jets winning the same amount of games, okay, something I don't think they've ever done in the history of their franchise, a 3rd straight 7-win season. If they did that, and the quarterback was healthy, in a weird way, there'd be a cleansing. There would be didn't work, we move on. One of the worst things in sports, and I got this with the Nets, by the way, is not knowing what could have happened. Like, what if they were healthy? What if James Harden didn't ask for a trade? What if Kyrie Irving wasn't nuts? And it bothers me even to this day, the uncertainty of, well, what if this happened? If he was healthy and they failed to that level, which I would be very surprised about, I give you credit. It's a unique prediction. But if that happened, I think in a weird way, it would be very easy at the end of the year to say, okay, you're gone, you're gone, you're gone, and you're gone.
Yeah, let's move on and just really start this thing over the right way.
Your phone calls coming up at the toll-free number, which is 888-808-1019.